Hello, hello. Hi guys. I am back for another Facebook Live. I know it has been a minute since I have been live. I know. And I had a couple of people ask me when I was going to go live again. And tonight's the night. I'm back. And we are going to be talking about something really exciting. I've got some really good content that I think is going to be really good, that I think you guys are going to be interested in. So I'm excited to be here. I hope that you guys are excited. I hope that you guys are ready to chit chat and learn, because we are going to be talking about how to up your content game. Okay? How to up your content game and how to make your content irresistible to your media partners. So let me just share this really quickly. So I'm going to share that super quick so that my friends can join in. And I think that that's done. So now that we got that out the way, for those of you who don't know me, let me just quickly reintroduce myself. My name is Zanika Chapman, and I am the founder of Polish PR Consulting, where we help entrepreneurs and individuals package and position themselves into thought leaders and experts in their industry. And one of the ways that we do that is by leveraging publicity to increase their visibility. And so I get asked a lot, how do I get in the paper? How do I get in this magazine? All of these things. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is how you can start to craft pitches that get you covered. Because I know I've heard a lot of people say, well, I email reporters, but I don't get any responses. And so we're going to talk about how you can change that. So how you go from blah to ba-bam with your pitches, okay? So the first thing that I want you guys to think about as you're crafting your pitch is connection. All right? I'm going to say that one more time. The first thing we're going to talk about is connection. And you want to connect not only to that reporter, but you really want to connect your content to their audience. And so I've talked a lot on my Facebook page about becoming a student of the media and why that's important. That's important here because now that you're at this point where you're crafting a pitch, you want to be able to know exactly who that reporter, and I use the word reporter, but really that could be, a podcast host. It could be the owner of a blog. It could be a TV producer. It could be a magazine editor. So we're talking multiple things here, but you want to make sure that the content and the pitch that you're writing is going to resonate with their audience. And so you've taken your time here to understand and know what it is that they cover. You know their personality, you know how they write, so you know who it is that they are producing their content for. Hey cuz! So you want to make sure that what you're pitching and what you're saying is going to connect to that reader, right? Because these people have their platforms. They've spent a lot of time building these platforms and curating these platforms. They are not just going to let anybody walk on here and write for them, be on their podcast, be on their show, right? They want to make sure that they are going to be giving their best content to their audience. And so that's why you have to be thinking about, how do I speak to that audience through this reporter, okay? The second thing we're going to talk about is relevancy. You want to be relevant. And this one is so big, I cannot even stress. So here's an example of relevancy. Today is April 17th. It is tax day. So if you are a financial preparer, one of the things that you could have been pitching to somebody is, how do people leverage their tax refund? What are the top 5 things that you should do with your tax refund? Now, another example of that, we are, if spring ever does spring, we're going into the spring season, high pollen, high allergy. Perhaps you're a health and fitness coach. Maybe you could start pitching stories around what are some other indoor options for people who are traditionally outdoor workout people. What are some indoor options that are maybe just as effective as running or hiking that person can do indoors so that they can protect themselves during this high pollen season that we're moving into? So be thinking about topics and ideas that are relevant for the season. We just experienced, Beyonce just did her amazing Coachella performance, and so you're starting to see a lot of thought pieces around the importance, the relevance of HBCUs. And you won't see a lot of those stories as we move into next week. And so you won't be wanting to pitch those stories. Maybe the next time something like that would make sense and be relevant is in the fall season, as students start to think about what schools they want to go to or what they're looking at, where they want to apply in the fall. So you want your content to be relevant for the season that we're in. Relevancy and timing are so important. And I actually just put together my best tips into a checklist, and I talk about relevancy and timing because another key thing that people tend to forget is how long it takes to get some of these outlets to cover you. So for example, magazines have about a 3 to 4 month turnaround or leeway time. So what that means is that if we're operating today in April, a magazine is typically 3 to 4 months ahead of us. So you want to go ahead, if there are things that you want to pitch for the fall season and you're looking at a particular magazine, you want to start putting those pitches together right now for this particular season, because the magazines are already 3 to 4 months ahead of us, right? So you want your content to connect with the reader's audience, and you want it to be relevant. The other point, the last tip that I'm going to give you guys, is you want to start to position yourself as the expert. So all those examples that we just gave, if you so many times people are like, oh, I'm just passionate about what I do. I don't want to be the spokesperson for it. Well, guess what? If you pitch somebody a really good, interesting, amazing story and you shy away from speaking about it, they're going to go find another subject matter expert to speak on that issue. And you don't want that to happen, because then you miss out on the opportunity for that visibility, which is really what we're trying to get. It's not just about covering the issue, but it's also about positioning yourself as the go-to person to talk about that issue. So you want to go ahead and start laying that groundwork. So if you have other examples of yourself speaking on this particular issue, other guest blog posts that you've written, you want to share that with the reporter at this time. Now, you don't try to overwhelm the reporter. I hate when people, they send you just a laundry list of things, but send them your best work, your best clips, and make that relevant to what you're pitching. If you are pitching to write a guest blog post, do not send them your best podcast interview. You want to send them either blog posts from your site or guest blog posts that you've written on another site, so that they can see how many comments it garnered, what kind of feedback you got from it, so that they know that you're ready for their platform. Again, these people have taken the time to build and curate their audiences, and they are not just going to turn it over to anybody. So if you are pitching yourself as a guest on someone's podcast, they want to know that you can deliver to their audience. Podcasts are typically one-on-one conversations. So that person wants to make sure that when you step on that platform, when they call you for that podcast interview, that they're going to be able to have a conversation with you, that conversation is going to be lively, that it's going to be engaging, and that the content is going to be something that their audience needs to know. They don't want to get you on the phone and you're like, yes, hey, I'm good. Nobody wants to listen to that for a prolonged period of time. So, make sure that you deliver on the content that you've promised to deliver on. And that's a whole other video for another day. We can work through that. But you want to go ahead and start to lay the groundwork and position yourself as the go-to person for this particular interview. So go ahead and brag on yourself just a little bit. You know, here's an article where I was featured in Glamour, or here's an article where I went on the local morning show and talked about this, so that they can see that you're ready for the platform, that you're ready for prime time, if you will. So those are my top 3 tips for making your content irresistible to media, and I'll run through them again for you really quick. But you want to connect to the audience, you want it to be relevant for the time in the season that we're in, and you want to position yourself as the expert in that particular field. Hey, Sharmika. So again, if you like these tips, there's plenty more. I just released my brand new pitch checklist where I walk through how to craft a winning pitch that gets you covered. So how to go from them ignoring your emails to them opening your emails, reading your content, and actually calling you back. So if you want the tips on that, if you want the deets on it, it is good, I promise you. If you want the deets on it, I put my best tips in it. Make sure you download that, and I will post the link to it here in the comments. But again, I'm so happy to be back doing Facebook Lives with you guys. If you like this content, if there is someone in your circle that you know needs to hear this information, just share it with them. I know you guys have one person in mind, but just share it with that one person. And like I said, I'll be back next Tuesday with some more pro tips for how to increase your visibility. So if you've got a little something gnawing on the brain that you've always wanted to ask a PR person, drop it in the comments. If you don't feel free to drop it in the comments, you guys know you can always slide in my DM and shoot me a question there. But with that, I'll give you guys one more opportunity to ask any questions you might have. And if not, I am going to say good night until next week. I hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday night. Have a great night, and I'll be back next week. Bye, guys.